We are live.
Hello and welcome everybody to day 3, Breaking Free 2020. We've made it to the finale. Are you guys ready for the last and final day of our little journey that we've had here together? Well, I hope so, because we're gonna get it going. So my name is Nikki Leal. This is my co-host Jason Brown in the building tonight. We are going to be continuing our journey on. We've talked about a lot of different things with you guys so far. It's been really great to have you all come together and chat about just some stuff to really live life purpose-driven, more powerful, really going into this year with the right foot, stepping on the right foot, and really allowing you to see how easily just shifting some stuff around in your life can create some really powerful and beautiful things for your future. So we talked about focus, we talked about making meaning of things, finishing things before they begin, getting in alignment with your purpose, your why. Just different avenues of growth. And we're going to continue that conversation with the idea of the canvas is clear. So after this year had just passed, the beautiful thing about that is now we have a really clear canvas to create whatever we want to create for ourselves in our lives, in our families. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Jason Brown, and he's going to start us off with the idea normal is no more.
Yes, and I'm so excited to talk about this because it's one of my favorite points, especially coming into day 3. As you guys know, we've done work over the last 2 days. We touched on some heavy concepts. We challenged everyone to go deep and go under the surface and do some digging and do some reconfiguring. But here we go. Normal is no more. Everybody, not everybody. Let me just say not everybody, but a majority of people are saddened by the fact that we're not going back. People are like, you know what? I just want things to go back to how they were before all this stuff happened. I just want to go back to normal. But I'm not gonna say the sad truth. What you think might be the sad truth, but the exciting truth is that we're not going back to what we would know to be normal prior to everything that happened in 2021. Like, we're not going back there. But the great thing is this: everything was disrupted, right? And there's an old principle called build and destroy, or destroy before you rebuild, right? So just think about this. Say you have a house on a plot of land, right? And you're like, you know what? I want to build a new house, and I have an idea for like this new way that everything's going to be set up. What do you got to do first? If you're going to build a brand new house in the place of your old house, you got to take the old house down first. And with all of this, the disruption that we experienced, that was the taking down of the old house. And now we're standing on the land with nothing in front of us, and an opportunity to design the new house that we wish to live in, an opportunity to design what the future is going to look like. So this is a extraordinary opportunity and an extraordinary opportunity, and we gotta be in the right mind frame so we could take advantage of it. So again, normal, or what we thought to be normal prior to 2020, it's not coming back. And it's not a sad thing, it's an exciting thing, because we are in a space to start to build what the future is going to look like as a society. We gotta start to share concepts and what we think it's going to look like, and come to agreements on how we're going to move forward and really get into builders mode, because now is an opportunity for us to not only build our own reality, but to build what society may look like for years to come, for us, for our kids, for their kids. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. There's never been a time like this. So make sure we take advantage of it. Make sure you start to think about, what is the new normal? What do I want the new normal to look like? And then start engaging people on creating that out here in this space, because this is a unique opportunity. Don't look back, because we're not going that way. We're going forward. And what you see in front of you is nothing. It's clear. It's blank. You can do anything you want going forward, or you can create anything you want going forward, because the structure of what was normal is no more.
Yes, and like how Jason mentioned earlier, it's time to move forward and create what we want for ourselves and our future. So we have this unique opportunity to really start from scratch, like the foundation of whatever you want to create. If it's something like you lost your job, you got laid off, your hours are cut in half, those are situations that sometimes we can't control. But of course, everything that happens to us for a reason. So really get clear, for one, think about what that reason could be, and then move past that. If it was a hardship for you where you were, happy at your job and it was really unfortunate to see that passing, sometimes we just have to grieve that morning quickly and then move on and really go into the idea of, rather than creating or being letting other people create your environment, you being the one to create your own environment. So if it's something where you're starting a new career, thinking about, are you doing what you want to be doing? Are you passionate about what you're doing? Having the opportunity to start over again or make brand new is a unique opportunity, because this has never happened to us before. It's almost like the train track has gotten stopped right in the middle of life, and at first it can be a little chaotic, but the beauty of it is we got a chance to stop and like smell the roses, especially if you live a really busy lifestyle, or especially if you're living in a situation where you weren't that happy before. And sometimes you don't even realize you're not that happy until you take time to stop and look around and you realize, what am I doing here right now? Like, what? This isn't really fulfilling me. So if it's somewhere you lost a job that you enjoyed, continue down that same career path possibly. If it's something where it was a job that you didn't enjoy, now you have the opportunity maybe to go back to school. Or maybe you have the opportunity to start, set up, being an entrepreneur and making a small side business of something that you could do that you really find joy in, or something that's just really profitable and easy for you to do from home. Maybe you're homeschooling your children, or maybe you just have more time at home. Something that's really easy and convenient to do from the comfort of your home. So thinking about creating whatever it is that's going to spark you up, and finding the joy in the opportunity to make things new. So the fun and exciting thing about new is that you have the power to try different things. You're not stuck in the same space of just proceeding forward, not really thinking about much, counting down the days to the weekend, dreading Monday mornings. You have the opportunity to start finding real true joy. And it can be something really simple. Maybe you have more free time, so you get to spend more time with your children or your husband. Maybe you have more free time because you're not going out as much and you're saving, let's say, a couple $100 a week. Maybe you have more free time and you found a real joy and passion in something like baking or cooking at home, something that you didn't do before because you didn't have as much free time, or you didn't do before because you just got used to eating out on a regular basis. There's so much opportunity now dealt to us. It's our responsibility to take that seriously and really apply it to our lives, and really take the time to, if you're not really quite sure what path you want to go down, sit with yourself. Meditate over it, journal over it, take a couple days and really get clear on what now, with things being the way they are, what are you going to do with this extra time? Or what are you going to do with this new opportunity to create a new career path? What kind of hobbies are you going to take up? Maybe starting a little side business. What kind of things interest you? What makes you happy? Really, really sitting with yourself, getting clear, and then executing. Set a plan in action and make it happen.
Yes, set a plan, make it happen. Day 3, Break It Free 2020. Let's go. The energy's high. You feel the energy? I feel the energy. The energy's high. I feel like we're concluding. That's why I love that. We talking about what's the new normal. Well, we got to understand this. Let's look at the word normal, right? What dictates what's normal? We have what's normal to us as individuals, but then we also have what's the societal norm, right? So let's just say, for instance, okay, let's just say this. You guys look at me, right? And let's just say, like, you guys are all hanging out somewhere, and I came pulling up in my car, and I'm listening to Avril Lavigne. I got it on blast, and I'm just having the time of my life. When I pull up, you're gonna be like, whoa, wait a minute. What's up with that? That's not normal. You should be listening to something else. You know what I mean? That ain't normal. So the society as a whole, we decide what's normal by our collective agreement. So again, when we think about building the new normal, we got to understand that the new normal is going to be nominated by the collective. So it's important that we surround ourselves with like-minded individuals, and then also with people who are visionaries, people that are looking to the future, people that have ideas and concepts that will move the entire society or community forward, because those individuals are the ones who should be nominating the normal, who should be putting things up to be considered for the new normalcy, right? Now, again, you get to decide on your own playing field or in your own personal space what's normal for you. You get to decide that for sure. But when we talk about on the world scale, on the community scale, what is normal is nominated by the collective. So it's important, once again, that we surround ourselves with people who have vision. We surround ourselves with people who are driven. We surround ourselves with people who are going in the right direction, because a lot of people aren't going forward. A lot of people are either going backwards, right? Because they're anchored by something in the past, or a lot of people are just going left to right. They're in a ping pong, boom, 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 but they're never going forward. They're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So you have to get with the individuals who are moving forward and then share your vision for the new normal. You know what? Before things were like this, but given the fact that we're here and given the fact that we need to figure out what's normal, I think that it would be great for us as a society to consider these certain things to be the new normal, right? What if sharing love with each other was normal and not having, problems and drama, which was the normal before, right? If I seen somebody, or even like one of my dudes, right? If one of my friends, I see him and I'm talking to him on the phone, and then before we hang up, I'm like, all right, man, you know what, bro? Hey, blessings, man. I love you. Have a good day and stay powerful. If I was in the room with someone who wasn't ready to hear something like that, they'd be like, yo, did he just tell his boy that he loves him? What's up with that? That's weird, right? Because it's like, yo, that's not normal. But why is it not normal, right? Why is it not normal to tell your people that, you know what, have a good day, and I want good things for you. I love you. Carry on. That's how we should interact with each other. But it's not. It wasn't the norm. But now in the space that we're in, we get to create the new norm, and it's important that we share these visions and, as a collective, put together what we're going to move forward with as the normal. You right? That's all I can say, man. You know, we have to nominate together a new normal that is way better than any normal that we could go back to.
Yes, definitely. And thinking about the idea of, Jason said, getting around like-minded people. This is such a powerful thing. Us, for example, we not only have a book club, we also have a mastermind group. And what we do in those types of groups is really getting around people who have common interests, common goals in mind, and common aspirations. And what we do is we come together and we build each other up. We give each other advice, feedback. We share different ideas together. We brainstorm together. And the beautiful thing about this is all of this is free. There's so much access to any type of thing with social media. There's different platforms now like Clubhouse that's becoming up and coming. There's so many different platforms to get around people who have common interests and really just come together and grow stronger together, grow bigger, share ideas, bounce off ideas, have the opportunity just to be around people, especially if you're in a space where you're not really around people who you can relate to, who resonate with you, who understand you, especially if you are on like something total lockdown, which parts of the country are. I know that specifically around here in the New England area, it's a little bit more lenient, but there's still a ton of restrictions. So if you're finding yourself in this lockdown state and you have a lot more time at home and you're like, what do I do with my spare time? I'm bored. Well, fill that boredom with something powerful, something that you're going to grow from. Join something like a book club. It's this like old school idea of reading a book. It's such a simple theory, but not too many people do it these days. And it's really sad. And it's like a book can be literally free. Just about every single book we read over the past like year and a half, 2 years, was accessible online for free somewhere, whether it is in YouTube or like actual digital copy available. So it's not about spending a certain amount of money. It's not about, buying certain things, or it could be like if you're into certain hobbies, like creating with paints or clay or like what I do, I make personalized items. So it is a little bit of investment, but it can be something totally 100% free, of course, as well. If you do like crafting, get around crafty people. There's so many Facebook groups that you can join. You can sit there and chat in Facebook groups all day getting to know people. So really getting clear about their ideas and visions for the future and finding the same types of people that want to share those interests with you or already share those interests and get to know them. Like, people are really set out, especially you can find people in these groups, they're set out to build relationships, and maybe because it's a similar common interest, maybe it's because, they're at home and they just have a lot of free time. I'm in quite a few different mom groups and the conversations go all day long. People asking different questions, asking for advice, sharing ideas, sharing recipes, sharing pictures. I'm also in some entrepreneurial groups. Same thing. These conversations go all day long. And a lot of it is surrounding the idea of empowering and helping each other. Really just out of the kindness of your heart, sharing different content, sharing different ideas, collaborating on other social media platforms. Get around people that are doing what you want to do or doing the same things as you and grow together as a group, because the possibilities are endless and there's power in numbers. And thinking about doing everything on your own, even if you don't have, let's say, a large family or a large friend circle, like, it doesn't have to be in person, especially now more than ever. That's really clear. There's not much happening in person. And the great thing about that is you have the opportunity to expand out and meet literally thousands more people than you ever would be able to build relationships with one-on-one in person.
Definitely. I mean, it's all unique opportunity. And with unique opportunity, we have, possibility of endless possibilities. And that's kind of what we want to go into next, is just to explore how endless these possibilities are that we have right now inside of this time and space. The first point we want to consider is this, right? It's not so much what you have, but it is more so who you are and who you're becoming on this journey called life, right? A lot of times we like to reduce ourselves to our material possessions, but in actuality, it doesn't matter what a man possesses. You don't measure a man's wealth by what he possesses. You measure a man's wealth by what he can give away and still be on top of the water, right? So when we look at who are we becoming, that's the important question when we look at this journey. Don't focus solely on what you have or what you don't have. Focus on who are you in this time and space. What are your strengths, right? How are you showing up right now inside of this time and space? And then how are you showing up for other people, right? Because you may be more influential than you give yourself credit in the life of those around you. And you may be impacting people in a way that you're not even aware of. So we have to dial into who are we becoming and who are we inside of this time and space, and not focus solely on what we have. A lot of us came, and we talked about this yesterday, a lot of us came into 2020 ready to take the world. We're like, oh, this is the year. I'm going for it. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to build. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. But we were humbled. We were humbled by seeing that life is much bigger than us in our desires, right? You can have desires, but life has a bigger plan for you than the things that you desire on the surface. So stop measuring your worth by the things that you possess, and start to measure your worth by the things that live inside of you, and also by the things that you can give to others. That's the true measure. Um, on this journey, this unique journey, like we said, I want you guys to not look at what you're accumulating, but look at what you have accumulated and ask yourself, what does that allow you to be going forward? Because that's the important question.
Yes, for sure. And talking about the journey of the person that you become along the way, think about athletes or someone who earns like $1 million lottery ticket. A lot of times we hear these stories of people that are struggling and then they get this large sum of wealth. And then what happens to them a few years later, or 10 years later, they have absolutely nothing left over. And why does that happen? It's because they never grew their mind to get them into the space of that $1 million winner. The $1 million person who has $1 million that they've won is not going to be in the same mindset as someone who grew themselves as an individual to get to that space as $1 million earner, maybe in their career path or because of the wealth from their multiple sources of income. So really getting clear on how important it is to change your mindset in order to create growth for your future. And this can happen in small steps. Like we're sharing a lot of information with you in these last couple of days, and you can take a lot of this and apply it to you, or you can take one or two concepts. It doesn't have to be this bombard and overload of information or new strategies, because of course, if it's too much for you to take on, then you're not going to stick with it for the long run. It's going to be a short-term thing for you. That's what happens with, the New Year's resolution to do. It's like people go out gung-ho, like I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go full out, and this is going to be my year. And, 2 weeks later, they're not there. And why does that happen so often? Why does that happen to you every single year? It's because your mind did not grow to fit the shoes that it would take to fill that goal that you had in mind. So you have the desire to do it, but if you're not growing your mind to fit into that space, then what's going to happen? You're going to be left really disappointed because you're not committing to yourself fully. You're saying the words out loud, but you're not putting the plan in action. Sometimes it's like you just don't want it bad enough. There comes sacrifice with goals in mind. I could sit here all day long and tell you about how much sacrifice it takes to live the life that I have and the ability to be my own boss and work from home and be with my child on a regular basis. It comes with a lot of sacrifice, but it comes with a lot of reward at the same time. So it's not just about having these goals in mind. It's really about the journey of becoming that person in order to fulfill on those goals. Because you can talk about goals till the cows come home. But the problem is, at the end of the day, if you're not taking the actions to become that version of yourself, you need to have a reality check with yourself and look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? It's time to get really clear and really serious about what you want. And if this is a goal that you want for yourself in your future, you need to put a plan in action and be responsible for yourself. Because if not, it's just a wish. It's just a dream. It's not really a tangible goal until you put the plan in action. And that's why, when you see these celebrities, they win millions of dollars earn millions of dollars, or like athletes, whatever the case may be, they lose it all because they didn't grow themselves as an individual who it would take to be that person having that large sum of income. It's so, so, so important to work on yourself. I cannot stress that enough. That's the number one thing that I ever committed to in my entire life that really created true growth in me as an individual. That daily practice of working on yourself really just can transform your life, and not only your life, but the life of every single person you touch every day. Anyone in your circle of influence, anyone in your family. It's a really beautiful and powerful thing to work on your mind.
And there's no way to cheat the system, like how you were saying, like people who come into a lot of money, and then before you know it, they're right back in the position of not having. And it as you were talking, the analogy that came up for me is like someone who takes steroids, right? They take steroids, they get all diesel, and you're like, damn, they're all built out. And then as soon as they stop taking steroids, what happens? All of that goes away because they didn't actually work for it. They tried to cheat the system. So it's all about the journey, and we have to do the work to grow, right? To stick on a similar analogy, just imagine being in the gym and you're about to do some, bench press, or you're going to lift some weights. You have to start with, maybe you want to lift 100 pounds, but you're not there yet. And it's okay. You start with 20s and you lift those 20s. Then you go up to 25, you go up to 30, then maybe you jump up to 40 and then 50, and you're gradually doing that work. And then before you know it, you're lifting 125 when the goal was 100. But you got to be willing to go through the journey and do the small steps along the way to get there. And the good news is this: the more that you grow yourself, the more you work on yourself, and the more that you grow as an individual, the more that possibilities and opportunities outside of yourself will naturally grow, right? What you'll notice is that the people in your circle will grow. The successful people that enter your life will grow. The places and things that you experience in life will grow. So the bigger that you grow, the more room that you make for other people and experiences. A lot of us have a closed mind or a closed perspective on the world, and it's so closed that no one or nothing can fit into it, right? So you cannot expect to fit a big life into a small view, right? You can't have a small view and a big life at the same time. It just doesn't work that way. You can achieve as far as you can see, right? So when you look out, if your vision is solely here, this is where your achievement or your potential is. But when you take these off and you see everything around you and you grow into that space, now everything that you've grown into and you've come in contact and you spread it yourself out to, now that becomes a space where opportunity can exist for you. Now that becomes a space where people who want to be around you and want to see you achieve, and people who are having success that you can learn from can fit into your world now. But when you're small, when you don't have a big vision, when you maybe have a small frame of mind, big people can't fit into your life because it just doesn't mesh. And for some of us, right? And for you guys on the stream, because if you're on this stream, I already know that you're up to big things in your life. I already know that you're a big person because you're here and you're getting this information and you're gonna apply it and you're gonna grow. You're gonna grow in your life. So I already know who you are if you're on here. But I want you to think about the people that you know in your personal life that you want to be in their life. You want to be in their space, but there's no room for you because maybe you think too big. Maybe your view on life is too big. Maybe what you believe is possible is too large to fit into their narrative. Because when you come around and you start talking about, oh, all the things that are possible and all your goals and the things you want to achieve, it does not work for them. Maybe they become upset. Maybe they get mad, or maybe they, what we call haters, right? When you think about your haters, the reason why you have a hater, it's not that, let me tell you this: hate is nothing more than confused love. So when a hater is hating on you, it's because they actually love you in the things that you're doing, but they're confused on why they love you in the things that you're doing. And they're also confused on how you're able to do those things and they're not. So it's really confusion that puts them in the place of being a hater. So again, you don't want to be the hater. You don't want to be the person that so hasn't grown enough for big people to come into your space without you getting confused and then becoming that hater, right? And you all know those people that they cannot stand to hear good things about anybody, because instantly, if you go there and you're like, oh, this happened for me, that happened for me, in your face, they're like, oh, yeah, wow, that's great. And then as soon as you leave, they're like, yeah, they think they're all that. And they think they're, you know what I mean? And that's because you're a big person who can't fit into their small world. So don't be a person with a small world and a small view and a small idea of what's possible for you. You need to expand, you need to grow. And the more that you grow, the more room that you make for possible things, possible people, and possible experiences to take place in your life.
Yes, definitely. And going back and piggying back on the gym situation that Jason was talking about, as some of you might know, I teach fitness classes. I have been doing that for a long time. I'm a personal trainer as well. And sometimes in the fitness classes, people say, "Oh, you make it look so easy. Oh, you do this, and well, I wish I could do that. Oh, why can't I do that?" And the truth is, not to age me, but I've been doing this for almost 20 years, like consistently. So it's not luck. It's not even really genetics. It's really hard work. And what takes hard work is the consistency. And of course, the consistency creates growth, creates the results that you want. I'm unstoppable. I promise you that right now. I've been through so many things, just like everybody else in the past year. And I stay consistent with my values, and I make sure that I'm in alignment with what I want for myself and my future. And the growth just keeps occurring. That's physical growth. That's mental growth. That's spiritual growth all over, because I'm in alignment with what I want for myself and my future. And my value system is in alignment with what my consistent daily practice is. You know, so when we think about growth, this happens really gradually, or sometimes there's this one event, boom, that triggers you. And all of a sudden, like Jason said, the canvas is clear because your eyes are open, the blinders are gone, and you see what's in front of you, and you're allowed this unique opportunity to create whatever you want for yourself, because now your level of awareness has shifted, and now you can see things in a totally different perspective. And that happens when you put that growth in and hard work to grow yourself as an individual. And the beautiful thing about this is every day is a fresh start. So if you're thinking about, you know, you're sitting here listening to this, and you're like, man, I did start a New Year's resolution, and man, I haven't started that New Year's resolution. I promise you, you're one of the many. And it's not a conversation of getting hard on yourself. It's not a conversation of beating yourself up about it. It's a conversation of, how am I going to get this done, putting the plan in action and making it happen. And the beauty of this is every single day is a fresh start. If it's January 13th and you haven't started your New Year's resolution, that's okay. It's January 13th. Start January 14th. There's no law or rule in the rule book that says a New Year's resolution must start on January 1st or it doesn't count as a New Year's resolution. This is your life. You make it and design it however you want. So if that came and went past for you, or you don't like the idea of a resolution, I know a lot of people are kind of against that idea of calling it a resolution. You know, maybe just a goal in mind. What's your goal for this year? What's your goal for the next 6 weeks, 6 months? What's your goal for the next 6 days? Maybe it's something simple like, hey, I'm going to meal prep for myself. One healthy meal a day for the next week. You can do that tonight. You can do that right now. You can sit here and get that stove going and whip out the veggies out of the fridge and start whipping up 7 meals for the next 7 days, healthy meals. You know, so it doesn't have to be this big giant thing if you don't want it to be. It can be really small. It can be this big giant thing. Whatever it is, it's going to take growth and commitment and action to get you towards that goal. And it's beautiful because every single day is a fresh start. Even if you don't start tomorrow, say you start next week, whenever it feels right for you, like you have to really judge it based upon like committing to yourself and your mind, because we can tell you to do all these things. We have a whole list of things, a whole PowerPoint presentation of things. But if you're not ready in your mind to commit to any of it, then of course, us forcing it on you is never going to work. That's why you have to choose this for yourself. Everything's a choice. If your spouse is trying to force this on you, or vice versa, you're trying to force this on your spouse, it's not going to work until they choose that for themselves. You know, I know in relationships, especially like romantic relationships, sometimes one person or the other or both, they're always trying to like get the other person to do certain things. Like maybe they want to get the other person to lose weight. Maybe they want to get the other person to be more romantic. Maybe they want to get that other person to pick up the laundry off the floor instead of leaving it there every morning. The problem is you can nag until the cows come home, but if they don't choose that thought or that action for themselves, it's never going to happen, you know? So really be responsible for yourself. You can try to influence people around you, but force negates. So being forceful with something or setting ultimatums, that's just a negative going against a negative, and nothing's going to grow from that. So to really take it into consideration. Every day is a fresh start. Start small, start big, start right now, start next week if that feels right for you. You have to choose it for yourself and then put the plan of action and make it happen. And that's that.
That's that. We stay in action, stay in action. And you know what? In the spirit of staying in action, you're going to take us right into the next point. I believe the last section and the final section, you have the first point. So I'm also going to stay in student mode, and I'm just listening and getting nuggets as you're going, and it's revving me up to jump right back in. So again, I'm gonna take some notes over here and just get comfortable.
So we're talking again about the opportunity to start new. So the whole concept of today is taking this opportunity and really creating something wonderful out of it. So thinking about the past, really learning from the past, learning from past mistakes, learning from what has happened, learning from anything that you have gone through and accepting it for what's so and acknowledging what's so and then proceeding forward. So when you have these constraints from the past, say it's like something simple like a bad breakup. You know, you were in love at one point and everything was cupcakes and lollipops and it was so amazing. And then, of course, you know, the honeymoon stage falls out and then real stuff starts to happen. And maybe you were going through it for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, who knows, 10 years. And then eventually, like, it just couldn't come together. Acknowledge it, you know, acknowledge what happened. You know, you're going through this bad breakup, go through the emotions that you have to go through. And then learn from it. Learn what can you learn from this? Maybe there's some stuff that you did in the beginning of the relationship that set the wrong tone. Maybe you did something, you know, like not keep your promises or not to tell the truth. And that kind of really ruined the tone for the relationship there on out. Your partner is now always looking for situations where you're not telling the truth. There's so many different things that we can learn from our past experiences. They're just lessons learned. You know, there's no failures in anything really. It's just, what can I learn from this? And then moving on and leaving it in the past. Like when you dwell on something, whatever it is, something small, something big, it's just like taking your energy, your useful energy, and kind of just like flushing it down the toilet. When something's in the past, it's in the past for a reason. It's done, it's over. There's nothing you can do about a past experience. Reliving it over and over and over and over again. I know there's a lot of thinkers out there that just like relive the situation so many times over. You're like tormenting yourself with your thoughts. And that's not a powerful place to be. And that's not an empowered way to live. And really thinking about learning whatever had to be learned from the past. Sometimes it's not obvious. Sometimes it is obvious. Sometimes it takes growth in you to see the obvious eventually. Maybe you take a course, or maybe you enroll in reading a certain book, and then you read the book, and then 6 months later you understand why this breakup happened 2 years ago. You know, sometimes the answers will never come directly to you about something specific. But do understand and know everything that has happened in the past for you it's happened for a reason. Learn from it, embrace that idea, and then just move forward. You know, because being stuck in the past is only going to leave you in the past. And that's not a powerful place to be. Being present here and the now is the most powerful stance that you can have for yourself. And thinking about the future, but not living in the future either. Because the future is a never-ending destination. You know, you never really actually get to the future. You're always in the now planning for the future, but the future will always be in the future. So being too consumed by that can be really distracting as well. Live in the present. Enjoy each moment. You know, like I said earlier, this opportunity has given us a chance to stop and smell the roses. And I am 100% a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And for me, I was one, and I still am, but I am one that like goes a million miles a minute, like just crazy, like so many things in one day. It would blow your mind some days. But changing things up and changing the course of my life and not being able to do certain things I used to do, or not being able to you know, participate in certain activities has given me more free time. And what you do with that free time is really going to set the course for the rest of your life here on out. With that free time for me specifically, I was able to build a different stream of my business right from the comfort of my home, which I didn't have the time for before. I didn't even know I had the time. I created it, because things shifted along. And you know what? Before 2020, I didn't have that time. It wasn't available for me in the situation that I was in. And now that it's created for me, it was a force out of my choice, instead of being upset about it and saying, hey, this whole situation is very different now. My streams of income are very different now. What I did, I was able to design a whole different avenue that wasn't available before all these changes occurred. I just didn't have the time. So really thinking about just always staying in the present, especially when there's things that happen to you that you cannot control. Don't get caught up in that. Just always searching for a solution, always searching for a solution. And if it's something that passed, especially those things that you can control, don't get caught up in that either, because it's in the past, and thinking over it over, you're going to drive yourself crazy, and probably the people around you too. So really just letting things go, embracing what's so, learning what you can learn, and then proceeding forward, and really staying in the present and allowing yourself the space to enjoy the moment, and taking that time to stop and smell the roses every so often.
Yeah, definitely. And appreciate, we got to appreciate the fact that, without the test, there's no testimony, right? So we got to look at the fact that the lessons in life is what allows us to grow, right? It's no different than this analogy. When you're in school, they give you lessons so you can grow. And what happens at the end of the lesson? What do we get? We get a test at the end of the lessons, and we get that test to make sure that we understood the lesson. And if you fail the test because you did not understand the lesson, what happens? You got to take that lesson again. So when we look at our life, a lot of times we're tested in life and we curse the test. Man, why is all this stuff always happening to me? Man, why is this? I feel like life is testing me. These people are testing me. You know what? Life is testing you. But unfortunately, if you don't understand the reason why you're being tested is because life has given you lessons, and it needs to know if you have absorbed those lessons. We don't effectively pass the test, and we have to go back and take the same lessons again. So if you find yourself in a situation where it's like the same things keep happening to me over and over and over, I don't understand why these same things keep happening and keep happening. It's because the lessons keep coming. You're not absorbing the lessons, and when the test comes, you fail the test. So the teacher says you're not ready for the next level. So you got to go back. You got to start this whole thing all over again. So think, when you're being tested in life, think about, why am I being tested? What is the lessons that I've learned up until this point that will allow me to pass the test to show life that I'm ready for the next level? You can't go to the 5th grade until you pass the 4th grade. And even if you're able to scoot by and get to the 5th grade when you weren't ready to pass the 4th, by the time you get to the 6th grade, you're going to be in trouble because you're going to be so far behind on the lessons. So understand that the life lessons is what creates growth. And the more lessons that we're able to extract from things that happen in our life, right? Because in every lesson, there's a blessing. So when we arise with a situation or we're put in certain circumstances, there's always a lesson there. And when we pull that lesson, right, and we do our studies to make sure that we're absorbing that lesson, when the test comes, we can ace the test. And life will say, all right, they're ready for the next level. Let's send them to the next grade, and we're going to give them the next level of lessons. And that's going to continue for your entire life. You will not escape the growing pains of life. You will not escape the test of life, because life will test you until you're no longer here, because it will allow you to grow as much as you're willing and capable to grow. It's not like you learn lessons, you get a test, you pass it. You learn lessons, you get a test, you pass it. And at some point, life is like, you know what? You passed all the lessons. Congratulations. We're not going to test you anymore. It's not going to happen. right? There's some cultures, and I'm not going to try to go deep, but there's some cultures that believe that even in death, if you ain't passed all your lessons, you got to come back and live life again, right? So understand that lessons and the things that are happening to you, it's extremely important for us to do the work to understand what is happening for us, right? What is the lesson that life is wants me to learn right now? Look at the material, look at everything that's happening. What is the lesson in this? And then extract that lesson, understand that lesson. So when the test comes, it's not a problem. You're like, oh, okay, I see that. Life is testing me. But because this, and this happened to me, I know exactly what to do in this situation. And then you do that, and what you'll notice is the problems that you conquer, the things that you conquer, the tests that you pass, they don't arise again. And I don't know if you guys have that awareness, but when you're someone who's always angry, when people can get you angry all the time, and then life gives you the lessons to learn how to conquer your anger, it's no longer a problem for you, right? People might try to attempt to make you mad or make you this or make you that, but when you pass that test, you know how to deal with certain individuals. So therefore, that test is no longer there for you on that level. There's another test on the next level. So welcome resistance and welcome problems, or what we would perceive to be problems, because your problem is nothing more than a lesson in disguise. But you have to be able to pull that lesson so you can get prepared for the test, so you can start to level up and go from fourth grade to fifth grade to sixth grade to all the way up to the grades, so you can continue to level up in life. But without the test, there's no testimony. And without the lesson, you're not prepared for the test.
For sure, yeah. And not only tests, but like when things come, situations and circumstances come towards us, we also have to think about the contrast.
Mm.
So we have the test, and then we have this contrast. If everything was great and amazing and wonderful 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I promise you life would be a little boring. You know, you wouldn't be able to appreciate the good without the bad. It's a very simple idea. It's the law of polarity. With every up, there is a down. With every positive, there is a negative. So understand that in the grand scheme of things, if you didn't have the negative things or the things that were less desirable happening sometimes here and there, if every day was just amazing and great and wonderful and you were just like full of energy and love in life, eventually that would become mundane because you wouldn't experience anything besides this one thing. And if we had only this one thing, we'll call it like positivity or happiness. All you know is happiness, you wouldn't be able to see it and identify it as happiness because it would just be what's so. You know, this happens a lot, like with people who have a really great life and they don't realize it. You know, they actually start finding fault and issues and things that are not non-issues. Something simple like, you know, chasing the latest version of the car, like, oh, you're mad because, you know, maybe your neighbor just got the car that you want, a brand new car, and now you want a brand new car. But in actuality, you're blessed as can be to have a car, because there's so many people who can't even afford a car, never mind having the nicest or the newest car. So really appreciating, understanding the tests within things, and then also understanding that there has to be a contrast. If everything was just good, then it really wouldn't be good. You know, there's that saying, too much of a good thing's no longer a good thing. You know, so like we appreciate you guys for joining us today, and it's such a beautiful blessing to be able to reach this many people on this type of platform. But if we came out here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week preaching this information, it would start to go in one ear and out the other, because you wouldn't be able to appreciate it anymore, because it's just the same thing delivered to you day in, day out. You start tuning it out. Well, that happens when you don't have any contrast, you know? So it's really important to understand that although it can be unfortunate for certain things to happen, especially when it's stuff that feels like it's out of your hands, whether it be illness, death, loss, some kind of thing that you didn't choose for yourself, understand, you know, that there has to be a contrast, and things will get better if you're in a space where things aren't great right now, because when they do get better, you're gonna appreciate them that much more, because you know what the bad is, or the opposite of that was like. And now that you're experiencing the good, just think about 2021 right now. You know, like if you started out the year with some good stuff happening to you, I pretty much can guarantee you that you probably are appreciating it that much more than you would have, say, if it was 2019, you know, before this whole pandemic thing happened. When things become just second nature, you don't really appreciate them in the same type of way. So understanding that there has to be a contrast. It's a law of the universe, something that we cannot avoid. And really, this gives you the opportunity just to appreciate those things that are good, those things that are favorable, that much more, with seeing that in that contrastive spectrum.
Definitely. It's something that came up for me when I was listening to you speak about the contrast that I just wanted to share real quick before I dive into this last point, is that a powerful thing to consider is that a battery has a positive and a negative. And if the battery only had a positive, the battery would not work. So we need a positive and a negative to have a complete charge. It's the yin and the yang. We need both. We need day, we need night. We need good, we need bad. We need up, we need down. You know what I mean? So everything exists in contrast, and we need both sides to have a complete charge at this thing which we call life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't before I move into this last point, don't confuse when we say to think positive and have a positive mindset and really approach life with a positive attitude. Don't confuse that by thinking that we're saying to ignore the negative. The negative does not exist. The negative does exist, but it's all about which way you put the battery in. Do you put the battery in negative side up or positive side up? And what we're telling you is to put the battery in positive side up, right? So that's going to take us right into the last point here. I want to share something with you guys that someone shared with me. My boy Blake shared this with me, and I say this a lot. It's something that never left me, but because when people say powerful things to me, I hold on to them and I allow them to impact me and change me forever going forward. So what he told me is, people like to use the saying, "Well, you live and you learn," right? But when you live and you learn in that order, what you're prone to do is to have experiences that you don't have to have, that you can avoid having. If we just approach it with in this order, why don't we learn and then live? That would save you the trouble of having a lot of experiences that you necessarily do not have to have. There have been millions and billions of people who have graced this planet before we had the opportunity to come here. And we're lucky enough that a majority of the individuals who have been inside time and space on this planet have left us detailed accounts of the things that they have gone through and the things that they've experienced and the lessons that they've learned in a lifetime. They left that for us. So we have access to a lifetime of information and experiences that can help us to avoid making mistakes. If we would only learn first and then approach life to live, we would be so much further ahead. There's someone who has already done what it is that you wish to do. If you say, I want to start the biggest clothing line on the East Coast of America, someone has already done that. You don't have to just go out and be like, you know what? Let me figure this thing out as I go. No, someone has already done it. So go get the information. Find out, what did they do that did not work? And then don't do those things. What did they do that did work? And then do those things, right? So we have access to all of the information, all of these life experiences, of all these great people that have come before us. And if we only tap into that information, we can move way more efficiently in life. We can get ahead a lot faster, and we can avoid a lot of the mistakes that people before us have made. And by looking and examining the mistake, and I'm not even going to say the mistakes, the lessons that other people have learned, we can absorb those lessons without exuding that same energy and effort that they did. Maybe somebody did something for 5 years, and at the end of 5 years, they figured out it was totally wrong. What if you never knew that? And then you went and did the same thing for 5 years and figured out on your own that it was totally wrong. When if you had just went out and learned about whatever that said circumstance was, you could say, oh, so I was thinking about doing this, but then, I was thinking about doing this, but I learned that this person did that same exact thing for 5 years and it didn't work. So I'm not going to do that. But I did learn that this other individual did X, Y, and Z, and he was able to work it out in 28 days. So what's the 5 years versus 28 days? It's a matter of being or having the understanding that there's a life. Well, actually, not even a life. There's a library of life and experiences and lessons that are available to us if we only tap into them. And when we tap into them, it puts us in a position to move so much more effectively towards our goals. Most of the things that you want to accomplish in your life that seem so far away are only a book or two away from being completed in your life.
Right. And
One book. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, taking that full circle, we have this unique opportunity to take our life lessons and everything that we've been studying over the past several years and deliver them to you in this sort of space, right? And taking the summary version, we give you the clip notes and really leave you feeling inspired, because all the thought process and the years of collecting information is already done. And we make it really simple and easy to deliver.
And a lot of the things that we talk about on here are lessons that we had to learn. You know what I mean? So we say it and we're like, you can do this and you can do that. And you might watch and say, well, oh, wow, they know some stuff. But it's like, we know some stuff because we've been through some stuff. Right?
And that's exactly why we're talking about what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
exactly.
For everything.
What do they say? In order to be a great teacher, you must first be a great student. And we've been great students of life, and we've been through some very hard times in our life that led us to this position to be able to have these conversations. And the reason why this really does bring it full circle, the reason why we decided to do this is because we want you guys to not live and learn. We want you guys to learn and then live. We want to have these conversations so you can avoid some of the things that are avoidable along your journey, and you can propel past some of the obstacles that you have no business indulging in. Because with the right information, you can just move right past whatever's in your way, right? So yes, that's where I'll conclude on this point. But please learn. Take the time to learn and then go out and live, right? Your mama told you, hey, don't touch that stove, it's hot, right? And you said, okay. And you listened to her and you never touched that stove because you learned and then you lived. But what a lot of us are doing is that everyone we know has already touched the stove and got burned. But we don't know that because we're not learning first. So we come along and then we touch the stove, we get burned, and we go back and say, oh man, I touched the stove and I got burned. And they're like, why'd you touch the stove? You should have talked to me. I would have told you not to touch the stove. That's kind of the dynamic that we're in right now. So learn. We're here, Breaking Free 2020. You guys are learning and we're learning. I want you guys to understand that when we're talking on these streams, I would say 80% of the things that we say is flowing through us to you guys. And some of the stuff we're hearing, when we share things, we're hearing it for the first time too.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? We're like, oh, wow, I really like that. I don't know where it came from, but I like that. You know what I mean?
The universe in its precious nuggets. Yeah. So we have a general idea of what we want to say, and then we just get inspired as we go along. That's why it's just a real simple conversation. And what we like to do really is to make it make sense for you by keeping it really clear and simple and straightforward without too much scientific background or without too much philosophical, because we want you to get these concepts no matter where you are in your self-development journey. If this is the first time you've ever heard some of this stuff, or you've been studying it for 10 years, you and Jason and we all are learning as we go. And that's why I say a lot together we grow, because that is 110% the full-on truth. Like, as we're going through this journey, we're all just growing together in the same direction. So the idea of the Kings and Queens Academy is to really bring like-minded people together so we can grow grow on a platform together and have the tools and resources that you need to fulfill on your life's journey and really reach your goals, and just give you some simple, straightforward information that's easily digestible, easily understandable, and then you can go and apply it into your life, and we're here to support you in that journey along the way. So that all the support from us and the community, that all comes inclusive with the Kings and Queens Academy.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I'm so excited. It's here. It's real. We're out here, after a lot of prep work, and we appreciate you guys joining us. And we look forward to, like you said, growing together. And, sky's the limit. And we're just going to keep coming with the information. And, we love to hear from you guys and how this is helping you, because in return, that helps us and inspires us to keep going forward. So if you got something from tonight, please, share this information with the people you love. Invite them to come over and like our page, and get ready, because the future is bright, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, and I'm excited about that.
So what we delivered for you over the last 3 days is generally a typical idea of what the Kings and Queens Academy is going to be. So the Kings and Queens Academy is a weekly membership program. And what this will allow you to do is have access to these live streams in a private group. So what we're streaming today will be exclusively only available for the members of the Kings and Queens Academy. So each week, at 7 p.m., we will do a live public stream from 7 to 7:15. That's just our way of inviting people in, sharing our information. We'll announce the topic for the night, and then at 7:30, we'll convert the conversation into a private stream. And then the stream will go for 1 hour in that private group where we can chat together, answer questions. We will have some more course and action activities, and then we'll have an opportunity to talk about the previous week and really take the information that we're delivering to you and making sure that you're applying it, because we can read to you and talk to you and lecture and go on and on and on. But if you're not applying the information, then, it's just idea. It's just theory. It's when you apply the theory, that's when you start to transform your life. That's when you start to put the information in action. And that's when you start to see real results. So in the link for this live stream, I'll drop the link to register for the membership of the Kings and Queens Academy. We start next Wednesday. So again, the live stream will be a free live stream from 7 to 7:15. That will be out publicly. And then we'll convert the conversation at 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. in a private stream. And that stream will also allow you access to us. So there will be opportunities to sign up for one-on-one coaching calls. There'll also be opportunities to have all the information and the content of everything that we do accessible to you at any time. So even if you cannot make it every Wednesday, you'll be able to see the replay of the live stream. You'll still be able to ask questions. You'll still be able to access all the information. So I'm going to add that link down below to the stream. We also will be promoting it out in the next week or so. So even if it's not something that makes sense for you right now, maybe invite someone that you know in your life to look at the opportunity. And if they have any specific questions, please direct message us at the Kings and Queens. That is quite a tongue twister. We gotta get this down.
We've been talking a lot tonight. That's why.
Right. Hit us at the fan page. So message us at the fan page if it's something where you want us to, talk one-on-one with someone who didn't get the chance to see these live streams. And, we can get on a quick call, 15, 20 minutes, just to explain who we are, what we do. As Jason said, there's a lot of work that's gone behind this. We've actually been a year and a half growing this whole curriculum. So we have a year's worth of information ready to share with you guys. And we've been working really, really hard in the background. And it took us a while to figure out how we were going to deliver it. And we finally figured, we have to do it live. We have to do it live. We have to be in front of people. We have to be able to have them have the opportunity to ask questions, answer questions, interact with each other, build relationships, network with each other, and really have a safe space for comfortable conversations with like-minded people. And it gives you the opportunity to really grow as a unit. And what happens? There's strength in numbers. So as you grow, everyone in the group will grow, and then it starts to impact the family and friends and coworkers around you. It's a really powerful situation.
And the last thing I will say is this is the beginning, and you guys are in a unique position because We're gonna grow together, and the vision for this is is a large vision. And the fact that you guys are here in the beginning, when we go the distance, we go the distance together, and you guys will be able to look back and like, I remember when we were on the first stream and there was this many people. Now there's thousands of people. There's tens of thousands, so we're going the distance, and you guys are going to be historically a part of that. And I cannot wait to see the transformation that occurs from you guys tapping in to the lessons that we'll be providing going forward. If you haven't already, please go ahead, get signed up for the Kings and Queens Academy, and bring the people you care with you along for the journey. And it's going to be a powerful one.
Yes. If you have any questions about how to sign up, you can go right to our fan page, and at the top of the fan page, it'll say sign up now. So you can click that button. It'll just ask you a few questions. It'll go through. It'll take 2 to 3 minutes. We will be blasting out an email for anybody on our email list with that link directly to you in just a few minutes. So if you have any questions on how to sign up, if you have any questions on what it entails, anything like that, please contact us directly and we can point you in the right direction. I think this is it. We're wrapping it up. Thank you so
Free 2020.
much. Yes, thank you all for joining us. It's been really a true pleasure, and it's really amazing to see some of my favorite people come together and really commit to themselves, and then this next year really transforming and chasing down the life that they want to live, and allowing us to be that space for you guys to really finally reach your goals and break through any barriers that may have been holding you back, and really getting you back in the mindset, the winner's mindset of, you're unstoppable, and whatever it takes, we have your backs. We're working together. Me and Jason, like I said, we've been doing this for a long time together. So we have a really unique dynamic that I have some certain strong suits and he has certain strong suits, and coming together, we're really full, well-rounded, individuals. So I'm so glad that we were able to get you all together. The live streams will be available temporarily for 1 week in the private group, and then they will be taken down. So if you're not in that private group, please let us know. We can add you in there. You can get all the content from the last 3 days, especially if you missed 1 or 2 of the days. And we can't wait to see next week.
Yes, yes. All right, guys, everybody have a powerful, powerful night, powerful rest of the week, and we will see you guys sooner than later.